This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show, a Friday edition. Oh my goodness, Grant, I am just thrilled to be here. How are you doing?
I'm just great. I'm ready for the weekend.
Okay, Grant, let's try that one more time. I came on super excited, and you're like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
What? You're not excited? It's Friday!
I am so excited!
Woo! It's Friday.
Hey, you stole that one from me.
You're welcome. I thought maybe you were going to do it, and then you didn't, but then I didn't.
Well, I didn't want to be that guy.
Oh, so thank you. I'm always that guy, Grant. Why do I have to be that guy?
Because you're just that kind of guy.
Why? Why me? It's always me. Anyway, this is the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. We broadcast Monday, Wednesday, Friday right here on Spreaker, 9 a.m. Central Time for 45 of the most glorious minutes of your day that you will ever have, and you'll never get it back because we're just that good. Exactly. But Grant, where else can the good people of the wonderful world find us?
They can find us on the Facebook. At the Bax and Grant Sports Show. You can also find us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is at BG Sports Show. You can also email us, bgsportshow@gmail.com. You can send us any questions, comments, articles that you find, any cool videos, anything you'd want to talk about, etc.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We always love hearing from you, the listener, because we can't make our show any better if we don't know what we're doing right or we're doing wrong. I mean, one of the things we're talking about today is directly from our general manager. He had someone wrote into him and said, "Hey, I'd like to hear more about Orlando City SC, the new expansion club in Major League Soccer." And I was like, you know what? I would love to talk about them. So that's exactly what we're going to do today, is talk a little bit about Orlando City SC. They have a new captain. They have named their first official captain for the club. It is Brazilian international star Kaká. He played numerous seasons over in Italy and Europe. No, not Kaká, rawr, from Up.
Yeah, that's
I knew exactly that's where you were going with that as you made that little gesture. No, oh my gosh. They don't pay me enough for this, I swear. Anyway, but no, Kaká is the first official captain for Orlando City SC. You look over at the other expansion club, New York City FC, not SC. There's a difference of the SC and the FC.
What's the difference?
SC stands for Sporting Club. FC stands for Football Club.
Not Soccer Club for SC?
No, that'd be too easy.
Oh, well, thanks.
I mean, it could be Orlando City Soccer Club. Some do the soccer, some do the sporting. It all kind of depends.
Soccer has an identity crisis.
Exactly. Well, either way, 20 years young in Major League Soccer, but Orlando City starts off their first inaugural season in Major League Soccer. Opening day is just a week away. So that's exciting. A lot of excitement coming over there. A lot of fans are excited to see just how Orlando and New York do, since they are the two new expansion teams. Kaká, he is just a class act on and off the field. He has already scored a few different goals during preseason play, and with regular season just around the corner, he's certainly somebody that you're going to want to have on your MLS soccer fantasy team as well as this season gets ready to kick off. No pun intended. Well, actually, there was a lot of pun intended in that. I'm a soccer player. There's always a pun of a soccer pun.
Now, I have a quick question for you.
Please.
How many people play MLS fantasy?
A lot, actually.
Really?
Over 1,000.
Well, that's impressive.
I don't know the exact number, but it is more popular than you think.
Okay, I'll give you
Don't
that
hate,
then.
Grant. Don't hate.
I won't hate.
Maybe we need a Bax and Grant Sports Show fantasy soccer league.
Right, I'll just pick, this guy seems good,
yeah.
and then this
That's
guy.
That's usually kind of isn't that how fantasy football goes, too? You're like, this guy seems kind of good, because you never know how it's going to work out.
Well, I know a lot more football players than I do MLS players.
We're going to have to change that.
Okay.
I would have
All I know
I would
now
have
is
played
Kaká.
I would have played NHL fantasy this year too. Had we done that, but that didn't happen. That's all right. But Grant, we're going to keep the theme of purple moving along.
Jeez.
Orlando City SC, they are a purple team, the only purple people eaters this south of the Mississippi. But there are other ones in the north. The Minnesota Vikings. What's going on with Adrian Peterson?
Well, a judge just overturned his suspension that the NFL gave him at the beginning of the season. Now, that doesn't mean he's reinstated right away. He still has to go through a process. But basically, what happened was the judge said, you made a new rule and punished a player by the new rule based on an old action because the action was committed before the rule was instated. I don't agree with that's why the reason it should be overturned, but I mean it still makes sense. So, yeah, Adrian Peterson is now going to be coming back in the NFL earlier than his original date, which was in April.
Supposedly.
It was
There's
like-
no official word yet if he is coming back. The original thing was that April 15th was when he was supposed to come back, but now that it's up to this new ruling, there is a very good chance that he will be back.
Well, yeah, now he's, instead of being completely suspended, he's on the commissioner's exempt list, and he most likely should be coming back. So now the focus is on which team is he going to go to. Is he going to stay with Minnesota, which it's up and down. I've heard both yes and I've heard no.
Are they hot and cold and yes and no and
Exactly.
in and out and up and down?
And left shark.
And left shark. Don't ever forget about left shark. Anyway.
Well, yeah. So Vikings, and then I haven't heard really any other teams because they're not really sure what's going to happen, so it's kind of hard to spend time and energy into if you want him, which I don't know which team wouldn't want him.
Well, that's the thing, too. It's who also is going to want to... Because there's three different things that are going to happen. He's either going to get cut, he's either going to get traded, or he's going to re-sign. If he gets traded, he is going to cost one team between $13 and $16 million next year. I don't know if that's going to be possible.
Right.
If you cut him, he's still going to probably Marco Murray, with everything happening with DeMarco Murray and Des Bryant down in Dallas. in anything positively, post Jim Brown era. And then you look at guys like Anthony Fasano, a tight end on the Kansas City Chiefs. He was not a terrible player, but not a breakout tight end that you're normally used to. And then Jacoby Jones as well from the Baltimore Ravens, a dynamic special teams and wide receiver kind of combo player.
Yeah, I want to say about Kansas City is that I'm not really surprised that they're releasing some of their hands guys because they did not have a great season. And they did not catch a single touchdown pass, I believe.
You're right.
So I'm not surprised at all to see that. It's kind of fun to say that.
And people still think Alex Smith is not a bad quarterback. Really? Really?
He didn't. It was weird though because he was really good with the 49ers and then he got injured. Then Kaepernick came in for him, but it was shocking when they got rid of him because everybody's like, oh my gosh, Alex Smith is a great quarterback. And then he kind of just went off the deep end. So it's interesting to think about what if he stayed with San Francisco? Would he actually still be considered a good quarterback? Would Kaepernick ever get on the scene?
No.
Kaepernick
wouldn't be relevant. He wouldn't be.
Do you think he'd ever be traded to somebody?
Potentially, but it would be a back page news story if he did. Be like, Colin Kaepernick traded. Who? Okay. No one would know. No one would know who he would have been or who he is now because of that. I don't know. We'll have to talk about it more, though. Connor Christensen's in studio. We're going to talk about the NFL playoffs, and he's got his health tip for us. Coming up, this is the Backs to Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. Welcome back to the Backs to Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
This is Grant.
We have Connor Christensen in the studio.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Welcome, Connor. You can follow Connor on Twitter at ConnorDC126. He's supposed to be tweeting out health tips.
I'll tweet.
He's been saying that for how many weeks now? Anyway,
One.
Connor's... 1 week.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Thank you.
It seems so much longer. I don't know. Anyway, Connor, great to have you here. We're going to keep you on for the full segment today, and then we'll get to your health tip as well.
Okay.
One of the things that Grant and I have been debating, and this has kind of been the normal talk post-NFL playoffs, is... which teams that didn't make the playoffs in 2014 will make the playoffs in 2015? Now, Grant and I kind of have our own respective lists in terms of the 5 teams that we think are going to make it. Grant, why don't you go first?
Of teams that we think
will make the playoffs.
That
did not.
All right, that did not make it. Well, there was an article that Baxter found, and it said that, well, first I'll start off with this, that both the Saints and the Atlanta Falcons will make it. I don't think 2 AFC South teams will make it.
No.
NFC South, excuse me. I think that one of those 2 will make it. I don't think the Panthers will make the same playoff push that they did this last season.
Okay.
What did I say?
You said that you don't think 2 teams from the NFC South will make it, but that's exactly where the Saints and the Falcons are from.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think they will.
You don't think they both will? You
no,
think
I
just
don't,
one will?
Just one, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because the way you phrased it and then the
Sorry.
way I was like...
You were just giving me a weird look of like, did I say something wrong?
No,
I understand.
No, I know they're both from the NFC
It's the
South.
Atlanta Penguins, not the Atlanta Falcons.
The
Get
Atlanta
it right.
Penguins?
I don't know.
What's wrong with
No,
you?
I'm following. He's just
the New Orleans Steelers. Yeah, I don't.
All right, you can go sit down and take a nap.
The Oilers, they're still a team, right?
The Oilers.
And that's your fantasy football team, right?
Yeah, buddy.
But yeah, I don't think both of them will make it.
Okay.
I think one of them.
Who?
The one team with the Atlanta Falcons. There we go. I had to think of it because you threw me off with the Atlanta Penguins. That's all I could think of. So the Atlanta Falcons, because they have a superior offense to anybody else in the NFC South. They don't have the defense, so if they can...
Okay.
She's giving me looks over here.
No looks.
if they can fix the defense, I believe they'll actually be an above 500 team. Another team that I think will make it will be the Minnesota Vikings. Connor just did a little dance right there because they are not a bad team. If anybody says they're a bad team, you could say they're wrong. I know Connor feels this way. They were gypped of some players being sent to the Pro Bowl. I think they're...
Oh, my gosh. It's the Pro Bowl. Who cares?
They're being... Well, I mean, every player, like, when they do a synopsis, has been nominated to 9 Pro Bowls. So you could say it's significant.
I remember when the Pro Bowl was relevant.
You could still argue that it's relevant.
But
anyways, that's for another time. But yeah, the Minnesota Vikings, not a bad team. They have Bridgewater. Their running is decent. Adrian Peterson, that's... Well, it's hard.
It took you a while to find that word.
You're not coming up with a great argument for that.
Well, all right.
Well, no, well, because it was like, is Adrian Peterson going to come back? We don't know. I didn't know what to say about the running game quite yet. So the running game can be more than it is, but based off of last season, the Vikings could get by with it. Pass it's decent as
They've
well.
They've got decent receivers, not over the top, and there's rumors they might sign somebody or draft another guy, but we'll see how a guy like Charles Johnson, who had a kind of a breakout last 3 or 4 games of the season, kind of see how he transitions in next year. And we had, oh goodness, who was it? Was it Mike Zimmer or somebody that said that he believes that Charles Johnson's the best wide receiver on the team, which, as Greg Jennings, if I'm a whatever-year veteran, being like, hey, like what the heck, so I'm hoping that kind of motivates him.
Up, though.
Well, he is.
There's also Cordero Patterson is getting off-field training with a Hall of Fame wide receiver that was not named, but it was said that Zimmer said that he had Cordero.
Do you think it's Chris? Chris Carter?
No, actually, it's not Chris.
Oh, it's not Chris Carter.
He said, I'm not saying who it is, but it's not Chris Carter. That was actually what he said.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm
what
not
if
saying
it is Chris Carter?
He did that.
It's
just
a rude
yeah.
Well done. All right. Well, so those are just a few of the teams. Like in the AFC, though, we've talked last season. We talked about maybe having the Browns, the Dolphins, the Bills, and the Texans. Those were kind of our 4 teams that we were kind of pulling for throughout the remainder of the season.
Out of all those, I would say the Texans. The Texans have a best chance if they show up, because they're kind of a flip-flop team if they show up or not.
It comes down to who their quarterback is next year, though. If Ryan Mallett's the Texans' quarterback next year, have J.J. Watt line up at quarterback, okay? You're going to run the read option with J.J. Watt every play.
He can do everything.
He's going to keep the ball, and he's just going to run over everybody, because there's no way if Ryan Mallett is the quarterback, yes.
Exactly.
Or Ryan Fitzpatrick or whoever, it's just Ryan Leaf, for God's sakes. Like there's nobody that Houston of all teams either needs to go out and draft a quarterback, or they need to go bring in some veteran that'll at least, do better than Ryan Mallett. Now Ryan Mallett has come out and said, hey, I want to stay with the team, I want to, get developed a little bit better. That's great and all, but Houston has no one for him to learn from. Are you going to learn from Ryan Fitzpatrick?
No, from J.J. Watt.
I'd rather, exactly. Yeah, here's J.J. Watt. Learn from J.J. Watt. Go.
Just said all the other 10 players from the offense on the bench.
Basically how
He's
it
just
is.
out there by himself. He can get it done.
Both
sides of the ball.
He probably would.
Release everybody.
I really hope
keep J.J. Watt on the team.
I really hope that NFL Fantasy allows you to draft J.J. Watt next year in some capacity.
Flex?
As a flex player or something. Because it's not fair to... that he scores touchdowns on offense, and nobody can benefit from that fantasy-wise. Like, if the fact that you can still draft Dante Culpepper in NFL Fantasy, you should be able to draft J.J. Watt. Oh, yeah.
Seriously?
If you go through the free agent list on NFL Fantasy, down 2 or 3 pages, you start getting into, you can still draft Tim Tebow. I think Randall Cunningham was in there last time. He's been retired for how many years?
I mean, why not?
Yeah, I've almost drafted Tim Tebow a few times just
for fun.
Just to say, first round Tim Tebow.
First round Dante Culpepper, racking in the points.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's a chest pound right there. But I think out of those other teams, I think the Buffalo Bills have the best chance to make it.
Right.
The Dolphins are on the fence with them. I feel like they're that borderline team, but I don't know for sure, especially now that they're shopping Mike Wallace around. They don't know if Mike Wallace will even be in Miami next season or not.
And also looking at the Browns that you mentioned, I don't think the Browns are going to do better than they did this last season. I think they're going to do a little worse, especially with their quarterback situation and all their off-field issues they've had this offseason. So I don't think they're going to be able to produce at the level that they did.
Yeah, exactly. It's just going to be hard to know for sure exactly what's going on, especially with the quarterback situation.
Right. And it's so early.
It is.
The offseason.
It's way too early. I mean, free agency, I believe, does start. You can start signing players next week. I think is when they actually. I don't know the official day off the top of my head. It's either next week or the following week.
Soon.
But it's going to start happening soon, and it's going to be a wild ride on numerous cases.
Now, Baxter, what do you think about the Philadelphia Eagles?
See, the Philadelphia Eagles are an interesting team because it kind of comes down to two things. It depends on, number one, if Nick Foles is the starting quarterback or not. If Nick Foles is the starting quarterback, I like the Eagles' chances. Now, if Foles, for some reason, but now if Philly decides to go rogue and move up in the draft and draft Marcus Mariota, I don't know what to think of anymore.
I think that...
I doubt they will, but there's still that weird
will.
rumor that they might.
I think the Jets are going to take Mariota. I think they could benefit from having him.
Marcus should just stay in college then. I think that's better. Oregon could beat the Jets. That's just... I'm going to let that sit for a second.
Well, I know the Jets aren't a great team, but I think they can definitely benefit from having him on the team.
Yeah, Mariota might not, but the Jets
Right.
Hey, can I have the money and just not play? I feel like that's what he would. If I was Mariota, I'd be like, I will take however many millions of dollars you're going to pay me, but I'm just not going to play. It's just be easier.
I'll be the face.
Exactly. He'll be Matt Flynn.
I'll be exactly what Sanchez did. I'll get paid a lot of money and not show up and do press.
Brilliant. I want that job. Why am I in radio? I'm going to go be an NFL quarterback. That's so easy. Jeez. Who knew it was so simple? Are there any fence teams that either of you two can kind of think of that, we're not sure if they might do it, they might not? I've heard rumors that the fact that even Baltimore and Pittsburgh won't make the playoffs next year. Which is weird because, one of the two might not. I feel like out of the two, I don't know who I would choose.
Okay, the Steelers, I think they have more individual talent.
Like Antonio Brown, Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell.
But I would say that the Ravens are a more consistent overall team.
Yeah.
So,
especially with the rumors that Brandon Marshall might go there. We don't know that's going to happen, but there's still that rumor lingering in the NFL, universe.
Well, I'd want to leave the Bears.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's be honest
with ourselves. Let's be totally honest.
I think should go to Minnesota.
You think everybody should go to Minnesota?
The scraps of the NFC North.
Everybody good.
goes to Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
No, not the scraps.
Not the scraps. So you take Mark Sanchez?
Mark Sanchez? No, I'm fine with Bridgewater.
No, you're fine with Brady. Teddy!
No, I'm
You want Chris Ponder back.
Chris.
No.
Good old Chris.
No.
I love Chris Ponder. He's a swell
star
guy.
Quarterback.
Swell guy. Swell guy.
Oh, I'm sure he's a wonderful person.
I'm sure he is, yeah. Another question I have for you guys is how long until we see a team like the St. Louis Rams make the playoffs again?
Very shortly.
Because I feel like St. Louis I feel like is just like a click or two behind the Vikings.
They are. They were just like the Vikings. They went 7-9 this past season,
which is weird.
Yeah,
because
that is weird.
And they beat decent teams, and they almost beat the Patriots. They were beating them through the first 3 quarters until they gave up the game in the fourth quarter, and that happened to a couple of their games that they fell short and win a couple of games. They might even be in the Eagles situation, a game or two behind out of the playoffs, but with a over 500 record. So they just have to fit a few pieces left in the puzzle. I think they need to execute a little bit better, definitely on offense when you get your quarterback.
Whoever that is.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, because their quarterback situation.
They haven't given up on Sam Bradford yet, but at the same time, Bradford's body might have given up on him.
Right.
Which is unfortunate because he never, I think, has had a full chance to develop as an NFL player.
Yeah, because he's had so many injury problems. Yeah. Like last season, he was sat the entire season. He got hurt in the preseason, didn't he? Yep. And the Rams had to go to somebody who was a high school football coach that was, I believe, on their practice squad. He was shuffled around practice squads.
Yeah, and then they had their rookie guy for a while, too. I can't think his name. Somebody Austin somebody or whatever. I remember his exact name. But, I feel like the Rams are that next tier team. I think the Cardinals, depending on what happens with Carson Palmer, might get dropped. We'll see kind of how that all works out.
Yeah, definitely. The Cardinals are for sure, if any NFC team this year, besides the Panthers, we're going to drop out of the playoffs, it would be the Cardinals.
Yeah, no, I would have to agree with that. All right, well, Connor, you're here for, aside from your dashingly good looks, which the people of radio world are so excited to see. We're wait.
That made sense.
I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, it's time for your weekly health fitness tip. So, refresh the good people of the world what your health tip was last week.
Last week it was get educated and don't worry about people that bring you down.
All right. So, Connor, you've got 1 minute on the clock to educate the world with this week's health fitness tip. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. Begin.
All right. So, usually one of the first questions I get asked as someone who wants to be a personal trainer someday is, how do I get a six-pack? So that's what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about
you go
how
to the
get
store
abs.
and you buy it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. Today is how to get a six-pack. So, first and foremost, six-packs are made in the kitchen. If you want to get a six-pack, you have to eat healthy. That is the best way to get a six-pack. There is nothing better. Also, if you just have that last little layer of fat on the stomach that is getting in the way of your six-pack, you gotta go run. You gotta do that aerobic activity. Do boxing, punching bags, run, dance, swim. Perfect. Those are how you get six-packs. And then if you're trying to incorporate it in the workout, do a set or a rep of whatever, and then do abs in between each exercise. You don't have to do it all at once. Spread it out. Mix it up.
All right. Well, Connor's weekly health fitness tip.
I just want to add a little bit.
I love it when you do.
So I saw on the internet, you would enjoy this.
Oh, boy.
It was this.
When you start with, I saw it on the internet. That
great stuff happens there.
Uh-huh.
But it's like this grate that you can put yourself into that will make the imprint of a six-pack. It's fantastic. There's these chunkier guys walking around with six-pack looking abs, and it's great because it just imprints on their skin.
That is fantastic. I've seen that before. Or people will Sharpie them on sometimes, too. Be like, look at me.
That's disgusting.
Go get ripped.
Right. Some people all are, I don't know. Anyway, Connor, thanks for stopping by. Remember, you can follow Connor on Twitter at ConnorDC126. Check him out. Hopefully he'll be a little bit more active than he has been in recent years, or days, or weeks, or minutes. Anyway, Connor, as we always enjoy your time. You're going to be going to Florida with us as well, so the good people will not have to worry about missing your fitness tip because you will be with us. Mm-hmm. Are you excited to go to Florida?
I am excited to go to Florida.
Is your six-pack ready for Florida?
Well, I mean...
Are you at like a 4.5 pack
it's
or
something
a 5
like,
pack?
I'm at like a 5-pack where I got 4
pack.
on top and 1 solid.
Oh, that's the new thing.
But
I
we
heard.
don't have to talk about
Okay,
it.
all right. Well, thank you again for stopping by, Connor. We appreciate it, and we will chat with you next week, all right?
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Connor Christensen, ladies and gentlemen. The studio audience applauds as they always do. Woo! Anyway. All right, Grant. Well, Connor had his moment. Now it's your time. It's time for Grant's Rant. All right, Grant's Rant is the part of the show where Grant gets 30 seconds to rant about whatever he wants in the sports world, and I just get to sit here and gaze into his eyes. Anyway, 30 seconds, Grant. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Go!
Former Green Bay Packers tight end Brandon Bostic has received death threats from Packers fans after botching the onside kick where he was supposed to block for Jordy Nelson, and Jordy Nelson was supposed to go up for the ball. So now he's revered as the guy that lost the Packers, quote-unquote, the Super Bowl, and so Packer fans thought it was correct to go out and give him death threats. I mean, come on, guys. You can be fans but not fanatics. That's a little
Time's
ridiculous.
Up. Wow, yeah, I heard about that yesterday. I was listening to ESPN Milwaukee yesterday, and they were talking a lot about that, and just...
Absolutely ridiculous.
I don't...
Like, why would you do something like that? Yeah, he did something wrong, but we're humans. We make mistakes. We're sinners. And he wanted to go up and get the ball. I mean, he wanted to be the he wanted to be the big hero.
He did.
That didn't work out for him. The Packers, there was a lot of other things that went wrong in the game, not just his fault. And even then, you shouldn't be going and threatening somebody that you're going to kill him because they let a ball hit them in the head.
Exactly. Everything happens for a reason, Grant. That is the way life works, unfortunately, sometimes.
I love Packer fans, but that's crossing the line.
Exactly. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, intern Laura's in the studio. She's going to offer her thingamaboppa to whatever the heck it is. And Grant's got some hockey knowledge for us, too. This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. Welcome back inside the studio. I'm Bax.
This is Grant.
Grant, you got some hockey wonderfulness for us today.
I do.
You're talking a little bit about a significant injury to your favorite team, the Chicago Blackhawks.
My absolute favorite team.
The best team in NHL, according to Grant Coppersmith. Just kidding. That would be the St. Louis Blues.
Yes.
Yes. Anyway,
not the Blackhawks.
No, but a significant injury happened to one of their top players, Grant. What happened?
Yeah, Patrick Kane got checked into the boards. It's a little bit questionable of a hit. Fractured his collarbone. Now he's out for 12 weeks. He did have successful surgery, so that's good news. Now he's on the road to recovery. But he was a big winger for the Blackhawks. He was tied for the most points in the league with 64 points, and he was in the running for some awards. And now that he's not going to look like. Excuse me, I can't talk right now.
It happens.
It's not
you
likely
need
that.
a moment?
No, I'm good.
Okay,
it's not likely that he's going to be winning any of those awards now. It's really unfortunate, and the Blackhawks have been dropping lately, and they are.
How unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm so sad about that. They're losing pace with the Blues. I'm just about to cry. But
Tears of joy.
Well, yeah, because the Blues have been dropping lately too.
Oh well, I mean, so you don't have a lot of room to talk then about that.
No, but hey, they're keeping distance. So
it's true.
I'm
Yes,
okay
yes.
with it. But anyway, the Blackhawks are suffering, and now they're suffering a little bit even more now. They did win, however, last night, their first game without him. So it's good to see that they can move on. But I mean, if they weren't going to win a single game without him, that I highly doubt that. But he was their high caliber player.
Now, is hockey the type of sport where a team can center around one player, or do you have to? I feel like with the different lines, you've got to have multiple players throughout your team.
You can. There's big stars like Alexander Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby.
What a guy.
But it's more the goaltenders in hockey. It's like if you want to say the quarterback of hockey, it would be the goaltender, because if you don't have a solid goaltender, it's hard to win games if he's letting in 4 goals a game.
Especially with a game like hockey. I feel like for a game like soccer, the goalkeeper is usually a focal point of it as well, but usually it's that midfield maestro that's dishing off all the assists, kind of like a point guard in basketball as well. But every sport has their quarterback,
right,
as it were.
And you do have solid players. It's a lot more leadership, though. Look at the Blues, for example. David Backes is their captain, and he doesn't put up gaudy numbers. He's still a first-line player. He's a fantastic player, but it's more along the lines of his leadership is what makes him a star player, and that happens a lot in the NHL. But then you also get your young studs like Sidney Crosby.
What a guy.
He was number one prospect. And TJ Oshie, he was the number one prospect a couple of years ago, and now he's on the St. Louis Blues. He even has his own cereal now.
Oh, that's right. Forgot about that. What are they called again?
Oshios.
Oshios.
Yeah, Oshios.
Okay, anyway, not Yoshi. Anyway, okay, so the Blackhawks aren't completely crushed, but
No,
there's a good possibility that
it's stunting their playoff
probably
push.
going to happen. Okay, well, Grant, give us the latest update on the top 10 teams, according to ESPN on their latest power rankings. Who are the top 10 teams, and any surprises in there?
Well, these are a couple days old. Nashville Predators, number 1. I say that checks out. They are first right now, President's Trophy favorites. Then you have the Montreal Canadiens right behind them. New York Rangers, no surprise. New York Islanders, that's great that the New York Islanders are starting to show up, because really the only claim to fame that New York sports has of late is the Rangers. So it's good that they can finally get a decent team in like the Islanders, who have not performed well over the years, and now they're just taking names, and they're doing really well. So it's good to see them. St. Louis Blues drop back to 5th place, which is a little concerning because they have dropped a couple of games, and it's scary.
But they're still in the top 5, though.
They are, and they are second in the Central right now, and I believe in 4th, tied for 4th place with best record in the NHL, which is fantastic. But I always flash back to last season where they were beating the Boston Bruins for first place, President Trophy favorites, and they lose a bunch of their players for 2, 3, 4 week injuries, and like their whole top line, and then they drop the last 6 games of the regular season, and then they get dished a bad. Instead of playing the Minnesota Wild, they ended up playing the Blackhawks. And yeah, I love the Wild, but I would much rather have the Blues play the Wild because they weren't as good of a team as the Blackhawks. So it's a little scary to see that the Blues are dropping a couple games. Anaheim Ducks are moving up, so are the LA Kings. They moved up 5 spots. Their record is 28, 18, and 12 because they won 7 games in a row by the time these power rankings came out.
Dang.
So after starting off...
That's very impressive, though.
Yeah, starting off rough and picking it back up now, because it's hard to put together win streaks in hockey, because the schedule is sporadic. It's not like baseball where you play every day, and then you have a travel day, and then you go, or football. You pretty much play on Sunday or Monday, and then kind of Thursday sometimes. It's a lot. It's not as consistent as a lot of other sports, so it's hard to get into a system and a schedule. So yeah, it's impressive to do that. It's also hard hitting, so it's really hard to keep up the stamina.
Definitely.
Then you have Tampa Bay Lightning, Detroit Red Wings, and the Minnesota Wild in the 10th spot. I can never say Red Wings.
The Red Wings.
I always say that.
Are you hunting wabbits, Gwen?
I am hunting
on a
wabbits.
Friday morning.
Yeah, then the Minnesota Wild in the 10th spot. Now, I think, personally, with the streak that the Minnesota Wild are on, I think that they should be up a little more. That might be a little biased, but I think with the addition
How is that biased? You're not even a Wild fan.
I am a Wild fan, though.
Well, that's second. You are a Wild fan, but are you really a Minnesota Wild fan?
I am a Minnesota.
Okay.
I used to live 45 minutes away from Minnesota Wild Stadium, and I went a couple of their games. They come second to the Blues, though.
I hope so.
Blues are my guys.
You bleed St. Louis Blues blue, basically.
In the wintertime, anyway.
In the wintertime. But
green and gold any other day.
Well, yeah, I'd hope so. You know, you never know exactly, though, with how you are with a sports fan. You're a Cardinals fan. What is this crap?
I grew up in St. Louis. Is it a shock?
I grew up in Florida. I'm not a Dolphins or a Lightning or any 1,000 of their other teams down there.
Because are their teams good?
Well, the Miami Heat are.
Well, I mean, who wants to...
I don't know. When the Heat were in the finals, I was like, woo, Heat! And everyone's like, you're a Heat fan? I'm like, yeah!
Sure.
Definitely! Woo! I don't know. Go LeBron. He's still a thing, right? I don't know.
Right. He's not in Cleveland or anything. He left them, remember?
Oh, that's why it says Cleveland in the name. You leave to leave.
Right.
That's
you don't
Brian,
go back.
Brian Hoyer's trying to do that. He needs to get out of there. Anyway, Grant, it's time for Intern Laura to come on the show. Now, Intern Laura debuted a whole new segment for us on Wednesday called Laura's Thingamabopper. I think that's kind of the working title we worked with, Laura. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm good this morning. How are you?
I'm just so excited to be here. I know that Grant is excited that you're here as well. You're going to be traveling with us to Florida as well, so that'll be exciting. Mm-hmm. We'll kind of keep the gang all together. As it were. We're all in this together, to quote High School Musical. Anyway, Laura, what do you have for us today for your Thingamabopper segment?
Well, you know, Baxter, I was looking around and I was thinking about all the different kind of sports that there are in this world that we don't even know about.
There are a lot.
There are so many of them. You know, there are camel races in parts of Africa.
That'd be fun.
How do the pit stops work in camel racing? I don't know.
That's a good question. Need a whole pit crew for that.
Yeah. Changing the hooves.
Yeah, right?
They have camel shoes? Do they?
Maybe.
Shoes on camels?
Who knows?
Hey, they have camel dressing competitions.
Really?
They have beauty contests for camels.
Oh, learn something new every day. Anyway.
Anyways. But I was looking around, and based out of Toronto, Canada, there are semi-professional women's pillow fighting. Isn't
What?
It's not just your
Can
average...
we YouTube this? I feel like we need to look this up.
I think that'd be a great idea.
Oh
Is
my
there like a
goodness.
league?
It's a bar, pretty much. It's a bar called the Vatican in Toronto, Canada. And there's other places also in New York and Montreal, other places that are doing this as well. It's growing. It's thriving.
Can I play women's pillow fighting fantasy? Can I draft like a team to have like pillow fighters? Like
that would be amazing.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
It's amazing. And like you're allowed to do any sort of things, punching,
with a pillow.
With the pillow,
You're not
of
like
course.
swinging at
Yes,
them.
you will get disqualified if you were to do any biting or anything like that as well.
Luis Suarez couldn't play. Okay.
But there's been a lot of like injuries reported as well. Like besides your basic bruises and cuts, there have been concussions and even kidney bruising.
Oh, jeez.
Kidney bruising.
That's intense.
Are these pillows lined with like metal, or
no? It's actually
putting bars of soap in them and just out when it comes
Kicked
to that.
out.
But women's pillow fight, is it professional? Like, do you get paid to be a pillow fighter?
Semi-professional.
Oh, semi. I'm sorry. So it's more of a volunteer.
Oh, more so, yes.
Wow. Would you do it?
I don't know.
It sounds painful. Like, I enjoy a good pillow fight, but after I take a few shots to the head, I'm like, I'm done.
I need a breather.
Yeah.
Give me a
like
Gatorade.
2 seconds. Yeah, right. I'm going to go get a Gatorade. But, I mean, wow.
Yeah, the fights only last 5 minutes, so that's probably why.
Is it just like a to the death kind of thing?
the
or-
death.
Like
To the
whoever's
pinfall.
knocked out bleeding on the floor crying for their mommy is the loser.
Or the winner, depending on
pillow.
what happens to the other person. You never know.
I mean, it's pillows. How bad can it be, right?
You'd think.
Well,
like,
if you have bruised kidneys, I'd hate to think of the worst.
I've taken pretty good hits from a pillow before. Like, I've just gotten hauled off and just decked with a pillow before.
You're an experienced pillow fighter.
Don't want to talk about it. Anyway,
Professional over
I'm
here.
wondering though, like, how do you get kidney bruises? Like, I'm gonna have to go home and test this now and just be like, someone hit me with a pillow. No, I don't actually want to get hit. And anyway, Connor's volunteering from across the studio. Anyway,
They're just all gonna show up with pillows.
yeah,
every
just
day.
be like, hey guys, just get beat up or just have
Ready for the show?
The studio pillow fight before the show. Oh my goodness. Wow, that's really interesting. Though I had no idea.
It's strange, isn't
It is. It's very strange. Interesting. Anything else you have to offer us?
No,
then?
I'm just wondering if we're gonna see pillow fighting on the Olympics someday.
That would be fantastic.
Olympic pillow fighting.
Like, suspended in the air, beneath them is a pool filled with sharks.
Oh
Oh
my
my goodness.
And flames and piranhas and just everything from your childhood wrapped up. You start off in like a pillow fort that you made, and then you just run out and tag. Just
You have like the wrestling.
there's a
music.
market for this. I can see it. I can see it
definitely.
now. You know, how you've got like the Age of Empire games and stuff. You're gonna have pillow fighting Age of Empires, basically. Like
Start
that's-
investing now.
I might as well. Wow, you want to get like my name down on a pillowcase or like take that,
Embroidered on
Yeah,
there.
exactly. My mom
Love
can.
Mom.
Yeah, exactly. Get some cross stitching on there or something. My goodness. Wow. All right. Well, Laura, thank you. Thank you for
thank
stopping
you.
by. We always appreciate you stopping by. Intern Laura, ladies and gentlemen. You can follow her on Twitter. Where?
At Intern Laura BGSS.
There you go. Intern Laura BGSS, the official intern of the Backs and Grant Sports Show. Grant, any final remarks from you at all as we close out today's Friday edition of the Backs and Grant Sports Show?
Matt Flynn is still a decent quarterback.
You need to stop. It just kind of all depends on how you view it. Tim Tebow is a very Christian man. You want that media perspective. You've got Johnny Manziel, Johnny Rehab, as it were. Or do you want Michael Sam, the first gay player in the NFL?
My thing is that Tebow is not a solid quarterback. I think it's a little bit of a fluke that he won a playoff game. Manziel's not a good quarterback, and he brings bad press. Michael Sam at least has a little talent, and his bad press isn't all that bad. It's just hyped up press. It's not really negative in any way.
I suppose. All right. Well, Grant, I appreciate your time as always.
It's been fun.
It's
always fun.
It's always a good time on the Backs and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. Grant, where can the good people again find us on the Introverse?
Twitter at BGS, or at BG Sports Show, excuse me. You can also email us.
BGSportsShow@gmail.com. Grant doesn't know where he is anymore.
And
apparently.
Backs and Grant Sports Show on Facebook.
Holy cow. Anyway, I think we need the weekend to recharge, Grant. This has been another edition of the Backs and Grant Sports Show. For Grant, I'm Bax, intern Laura, and Connor. This has been another exciting edition. We'll see you all on Monday.
Pillow fight!
Woo!